We hear so much about the dangers of AI, all the things that could go wrong, but what about actual concrete solutions? Well, today we're going to dig into a really powerful idea for how we can build ethics, our values, directly into the code of AI systems. We're moving past just talking about it and into actually doing something. And it all really boils down to this one simple question. It's a question that just cuts right through all the technical jargon, all the complexity, and grounds this whole thing in something real, something human. It's that gut feeling, that fear that the world we're building with AI might not be the one we actually want for our kids. To really get a handle on the risk here, we have to go way back, like ancient Greece way back, to Plato's allegory of the cave. The whole idea was that people could be trapped watching shadows on a wall, completely convinced that those shadows were reality. Well, fast forward to today, and that cave, it's being rebuilt all around us, but this time with screens and algorithms. Now, the really key thing to understand is that the immediate threat isn't some killer robot from a sci-fi movie. No, it's actually way more subtle than that. It's this slow, gradual blurring of the lines, where we can't quite tell what's true and what's just an algorithmic suggestion. It's a world where our very sense of reality is being quietly curated for us. The guy behind this whole framework, Alex Kim, is coming at this from a really interesting place. See, he's a dad of 3, worried about the world his kids are going to grow up in. He's also a risk professional. His whole job is to think about what could go wrong. And on top of that, he's a data science student who's actually in the trenches, learning how these things are built. That mix of perspectives is what makes his ideas so powerful. And that personal stake gets us right to the heart of the problem. Because right now, the way we're training AI, we are basically teaching it a completely lopsided view of the world. The goals we're giving these systems, the incentives, they're just fundamentally out of whack with what we as humans actually value. And this just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? I mean, look at what we reward AI for. Making more money, getting the answer right, keeping us glued to our screens, and what gets left on the cutting room floor. Things like fairness, truth, basic human dignity. And AI is just a machine for optimization. It will chase whatever goal you give it, and right now, we're not telling it to care about the stuff that really matters. So that leads us to the big, urgent question. As these systems get smarter and smarter, as we get closer to something like a true artificial general intelligence, how do we make sure it doesn't just end up building a better, more convincing, more inescapable version of that digital cave for future generations? Okay, so how do we fix this thing? Well, the search for a real solution leads to this amazing idea from a totally different field, behavioral economics. The thought is, instead of just putting up fences and restrictions around the AI, what if we could actively, nudge it in the right direction? And here is the absolute core insight. For any of this to actually work, the rules, the guardrails, they can't just be some policy document sitting in a forgotten folder somewhere. They have to be alive. They have to be baked right into the AI's DNA, right into its reward function. Now, this idea didn't just pop out of thin air. It's built on the shoulders of giants. First, you have the work on the alignment problem, just figuring out what we don't know. Then, you've got Stuart Russell's warning that an AI that's too certain about everything is incredibly dangerous. And then, the spark, the book Nudge, which made it clear that you could guide behavior with smart incentives instead of just blunt force. Which brings us to the actual framework. Now, it's got a bit of a mouthful of a name, Liberal Paternalist Reinforcement Learning, or LPRL for short, but the concept is simple. It's a way to embed our rules, our governance, right inside the model itself, teaching it from the get-go to balance its performance with our principles. So, to put it simply, LPRL is all about changing the AI's definition of winning. It's not just about getting the right answer anymore. It's about getting the right answer in the right way. The AI literally gets rewarded for behaving responsibly, for acting with principle, not just for raw performance. Okay, let's get concrete and look at how this plays out in the real world, say, with a bank loan. Traditionally, an AI model for lending has one goal: make money. Its reward function, which you see here, is basically a profit calculator. It's all about maximizing income while minimizing the risk of someone defaulting. That's it. There's just no room in that equation for ethics. But this is where the magic happens. With LPRL, we change the math. We're not throwing out the old profit goal, not at all. But look, we're adding a whole new term to the equation: a reward for justice. So the AI's total reward is now this blend, this balance between financial performance and a score for how fairly it's behaving. And that little Greek letter there, lambda, that is the absolute key to the whole thing. Think of it like a governance dial. And here's the crucial part. Humans control the dial, not the AI. We can turn it up to make the AI care more about fairness, or dial it back to focus more on profit. It gives us, the humans, direct control over that ethical trade-off. So what you end up with is this brilliant two-part system, kind of like what Daniel Kahneman called thinking fast and slow. You have the AI, which is system one. It's operating super fast, making decisions, but it's doing it inside the ethical sandbox we've built for it. And then you have us, the humans, acting as system two, providing that slow, careful, deliberate oversight, watching, auditing, and fine-tuning that lambda dial when we need to. All right, so this all sounds great in theory, but does it actually work in the real world? Well, to prove it, a prototype was actually built to apply this exact idea to the very high-stakes world of financial lending. This is where the rubber really meets the road. The setup was pretty straightforward. The AI was given a ton of public mortgage data and told to learn how to approve or deny loans. But here's the twist. Its goal wasn't just to make the most money. It was also being judged on fairness, specifically making sure its decisions didn't unfairly harm any particular demographic group. So the AI has to learn this constant balancing act. If it just goes for pure profit and approves too many risky loans, its reward takes a hit. But if it swings too far the other way and overcorrects for fairness, it might deny good applicants and its efficiency score drops. The entire goal is for it to learn, through trial and error, to find that sweet spot, that perfect balance between doing well and doing good. And that really is the profound takeaway from all of this. Maybe the goal isn't to run away from AI to try and escape this digital cave we're building. Maybe the real progress, the real breakthrough, is in teaching these incredibly powerful new tools how to understand our own messy, complex human values, how to balance the things we want right now with the things we truly need in the long run. Now, this whole framework isn't being pitched as some final, perfect answer that solves everything. Far from it. Think of it more as a starting point. It's a proof of concept, and really, it's an open invitation for everyone to jump in and help build it into something even better. And I just love this quote because it's so humble and honest. It reminds us that this isn't some secret work being done by a few geniuses in a lab. This is about being a concerned citizen, a parent, a professional, who sees a big problem on the horizon and is just trying to do something about it before it's too late. Which leaves us with one last, powerful call to action. This is on all of us. The responsibility for making sure AI is built ethically belongs to everyone. To the policymakers, the regulators, the data scientists, the business leaders. The time to build our values into these machines is right now, before they start building their values into us.